everybody. It's Wanetah and Jason and our special guest, Amanda West. See what I did there? Welcome, Amanda. Amanda is here today joining us from Kansas City, Missouri, right? Mm-hmm. She is the agency owner of Let's Dine Local, and she's here to talk to us about how she uses Boomerang Me in her agency and the ins and outs of her success. So thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you, and we've been excited to talk about Boomerang Me. We've used it, and we have also had the founder, Mike, on as well, and he went through a thorough explanation, but I think your perspective is going to be something great for our audience because they'll actually see a real-life story of how you discovered it and also how you actually use it in your business so people can see that for themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact on almost every aspect of my agency, so I'm excited to share that with you guys.
That's fabulous. So if you could just take us from the beginning, right? Like, when were you born? The beginning of maybe before Boomerang, were you marketing? Were you already an established agency?
That's a great question. Yes. Like many entrepreneurs, the beginning of my agency journey was very much like a roller coaster ride. It was mixed with successes and then really big dips that hurt. And then you'd have to pull into that entrepreneur spirit, claw your way back up there. So my journey really has a lot of those stories in it. And with that, I was always looking for something that I could feel very confident in offering, especially since my niche is for locally owned restaurants and local small businesses. They don't have much wiggle room in their advertising world, or their advertising budget doesn't even exist. So I know when I walk in there, I need to feel very confident that when I'm making a promise that it's going to happen. And so early on, I knew what I was offering was going to help them. I knew since I was the one managing it, I could make them successful with the tools that I was bringing to the table. And I was using a lot of a mixture of different tools. Go HighLevel was certainly part of that. I got paired up with a developer that was testing something else out and just starting from scratch somewhere else. And so it really bounced around. And I think a lot of us can relate to that story because there's a lot of that shiny object temptation to just try to find the best, newest thing. So I was on that journey, and I held a lot of that responsibility of whether or not that local business succeeded. And it didn't just impact my ability to go in and pitch something that I felt confident about. I also needed then to use it and deliver the results too. And I didn't feel that comfortable with the items I was pitching. And that was reflective. Now, I did get results for them. Don't get me wrong. I am a marketer at heart. So I was able to achieve what I was setting out to do. But at the end of the day, at the end of those 3 years, and I was working a ton as a full service agency. At the end of that, I would be working easy 50 hours a week, if not honestly more. There were just the one or two outliners where I just couldn't get those guys to succeed. And the weight of that hurt me. I am a little thin-skinned in that way. Like, I want all positive things, right? So I did take some time off last year, and I looked for, okay, how can I go from a full service agency, number one, where I feel more confident about what I'm offering. Number two, acknowledged that that sensitive spirit that I have of carrying the weight of their success of the small businesses and restaurants. And I also had that sense of, if something failed, could I fix it? Because I'm not a developer. Like, that's not my mindset. So I felt like I was standing on a lot of a very weak foundation that I was just balancing on. So in that last year, I was on the search. I need something I know I can count on. I know that I can sell and be very proud of it, and that it could run on its own and still be a huge value to somebody. And that I don't have to babysit. I don't want to be that full service agency, because there was a lot of those tasks I was doing that could really be automated. And then at the end of last year, then is when I found Boomerang Me, and it's so much better.
Is it what you were offering, was it very similar to Boomerang Me as far as loyalty program, that kind of thing?
So yes, absolutely. So if you're helping those local businesses, it's very common to have a one-time offer that then goes into either a loyalty program or a next discount and a next to get people coming in at least those 3 times in a row, right? So
Right.
yes, it was very similar in that fashion, even in the realm of having a paid membership, which is new to the restaurant world, which is definitely catching on. Yes, it was very similar. It's just, it wasn't stable for me.
And you were offering things like, I know some common offers for restaurants are like a free appetizer for something, and then they come in, or a free birthday meal or whatever it is, to capture that information and then build that restaurant client customer relationship over time, was what your full service agency was doing?
Absolutely. I tease people, and the reason I choose restaurants is because it's so easy to get people to go. Everyone loves food. It's the easiest thing you could possibly market for.
That's true.
So yeah, getting that one-time offer out there to get people in the door is a very easy way of showing that you can get results. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
spot on,
know
Jason.
back in the day, Wanetah and I both have worked extensively in various restaurants. And I remember I was managing a restaurant and they knew that I had a bit of a marketing background. So they said, hey, can you do some marketing for us? And like you said, they don't have massive budgets. So I think they gave me like $50 for the week to figure out what to do. And, and that had to generate 40 pizza sales or whatever it was. So
Right.
it's very interesting that you chose that market. That it's obviously very positive things that can come out of it, but also a challenging market because they don't have a ton of money to just, let's try this and see if it works. It's like, no, this has to work.
Absolutely
No
right.
pressure. No
Yep.
pressure.
No.
So how did you find Boomerang Me?
Well, through that journey of being an entrepreneur, I have built up a network of other entrepreneurs in my world, right? And so out of the blue, I got a DM message that said, hey, check out this YouTube channel. And then that was the start for me.
So what drew you in? Tell us about Boomerang Me.
Okay. So Boomerang Me, the way that I use it and the way that I see it, is a incredible tool that helps you to consistently acquire new customers for a service-based business usually, and then retain that customer for your client. And it does it in such a way that almost makes my service so that it's really hard to then fire me. I sell it more as a kind of a platform, like I'm giving you these tools type of is my offer to them now. So I'm not carrying the weight. I'm giving you the tools. And then I have a little course I've created for them to be able to step through how to use it. But the Boomerang Me service, it just super easy to use for myself to set them up. Incredibly, like the feedback I'm getting from local restaurants and local businesses is, oh, well, this just makes sense. Like it's super easy for them to get logged into my account or to their account and just do it themselves. Like it's not overly complicated on the front end where they're seeing it and looking at it. All that complicated stuff just in their world happens magically, but it really is all about client attraction and then retention for our clients.
That's awesome. So how do you go about servicing and finding your clients? Do you just go out to eat and talk to people? What's your magic sauce?
I have a little bit of a different magic sauce than a lot of people. I noticed that a lot of the other agencies in Boomerang Me community are trying that whole door knock method where they just walk in and appear, and I am not that sales girl. I am not a good salesperson. We've already discussed I have thin skin. So being told to like get out of here, oh, no way, Jose. It just wouldn't work for me. So I created Let's Dine Local as a social media page. So instead of talking all about my services, I focus on highlighting local restaurants in my area. So I literally am DMing them. We all know this concept of give more value before you ever ask for anything, right? And so I really honed in on that. Okay, so what can I do then? Well, I can give them free freaking publicity. You want to tell me, like, restaurants know the value of that. They definitely see influencers. And guess what? Most of my following then are restaurant owners because they're very highly attuned to that area. So I go in and I feature them and I just give them a huge value bomb. And then I sit there and make small talk and we sit there and have a conversation. And I usually obtain their personal cell phone numbers and their email addresses, not the store phone number. So then before I leave, I just ask, hey, this doesn't pay the bills. Do you mind if I tell you what I actually do for a living and how I help restaurants succeed? And I've never been told no.
That is, you are smart cookie.
I can't take full credit. I did learn this technique from somebody else. So let's put that out there in case Mr. Court sees this video. But I learned this from someone else, but I've definitely made it my own.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. We can't, I guess, preach enough about the abilities that you have, the opportunities that you can create for yourself using social media and using that as a platform to draw in the audience that you want to create, that you want to work with. Jason is a master at creating so many. I can't even count how many social media accounts we have at this point in the different niches that we need to cultivate audiences. So I love that. I love that you are aware of you have to give to get. You have to have something of value, right?
Well, it's actually opened up a lot of interesting opportunities, that method. I was on ABC News for a year and a half up in a local town. So I would just spotlight restaurants in their community outside of Kansas City. And that was great. They literally gave me my own 30-minute segment of talking and then even being able to talk about myself. So talk about face recognition. I had lunch with the mayor yesterday. He has a business plan. And he's like thinking about me to get me connected. Like, it's just that way of just focusing on other people's needs instead of my own and talking more about them than myself has opened so many doors for me that it's just been incredible.
Yeah. And you mentioned that agency life that you had before that was working 50 plus hours. Now you're shifting over to this other model. And also you're a mom, so you have more than just business on your plate. So that transition from doing services and having, I'm assuming, a higher retainer per month per client, and then now moving over to the SaaS model, how is your time freed up in that transition?
That's been the biggest blessing for me. You can't get time back. And I've recently lost my mom in October, and I was still working that 50 to 60 hour a week. And I can't ever get that time back. So the loss of her really put a magnifying glass on that, in addition to that all happening when my son's about to be a senior and my youngest is going to be in high school. So I can feel the clicking clock going. So with Boomerang Me and being able to adjust and shift my focus to more of that SaaS, more of that service where it runs and I can live a life while it's running, I am now focused on 3 tasks a week. And I focus on my 3 tasks a week, and either I get them done in the usually 5 hours a day, maybe, but I just need to get those done. And some days I don't even work. That I know my tasks are feature restaurants, because that gives me my foot in the door. And then while I'm there, I then asked if I can pitch to them, right, the next week. So, and then if I'm pitching, so far, my closing rate's been just under 50% lately. So then I know I'm also closing deals or I'm onboarding. So my week just has to consist of those 3 things. I don't have to schedule emails and text messages for people, and I don't have to come up with graphics, which some people really love and are very gifted at. But I struggled with those things. I was good at them, but it was time consuming for me. And I don't have to do any of the other stuff. Those are the 3 things I love to do. Those are interacting with other human beings, which is where my heart and my passion is. That's where I get my energy from. So yeah, I'm now working, like, as long as I have those 3 tasks done and they're just on my calendar, there's nothing else I really have to do. Now, there might be some things I want to do for my job, but there's nothing I have to do. I'm going on vacation next week and I'm not sweating it at all.
That is awesome. how is this possible? Like, how is it possible that you have so much freedom and that you're able to streamline your tasks and what's really moving the needle? There must be a lot of support.
From the Boomerang Me side?
Yeah.
Or where? Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Because I'm really interested in, because they say they have a lot of support, right, for their agencies. What is that like? Like, how do they support you in that way?
That's a great question. So my experience with their support so far has been very positive. So when you log into your Boomerang Me agency account, there's a little text message bubble. I'm trying to get my hand on the screen down at the corner. And so you literally just click on it, and around the clock, they're there. Now they do take the weekends off too. So be aware of that. But yeah, especially if I start my conversation with client issue or customer client, or I'm onboarding, I have a problem, I can get a really fast message and response back. And they are very quick to making sure, oh, this is going to impact their client. We need to make sure that we're actually helping them really fast versus, hey, I have this idea. Well, that one might go down their queue a little bit because somebody else needs them right then. But as far as support goes, the team's been really great with me.
That's fantastic. And so you sound a lot like me, where I shine with interacting with people and relationships, but not on the technical side.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sure you are far more technical than I am. Like, if you started with HighLevel and all of that, trust me, we'll just be safe and say that you are far more technical than even I am. But for someone like me, who I love to sell, I love to teach and educate and demonstrate and interact, but on the technical side, you feel totally supported that someone like me, I could use Boomerang and still be as free as you and
100%.
streamlined my business.
Yeah, all technical aspects are done for you. So as long as you can answer a question for a field, you're done. Like, it's that simple. You're literally just answering questions when you're onboarding a customer. So I just sit side by side with the customer and say, okay, let's answer all these questions for you and get you customized. Like, it's nothing technical about it, which is mind blowing. It can be technical if you are the technical mindset and you want to integrate it in 1,000 different ways. You can. I'm not your girl for that conversation. And there are many people that are using the webhooks and the APIs and doing all these miraculous things. But I got to tell you, you do not need to in order to grow your agency. I do have it integrated with Go HighLevel because they made that very easy. And I already had a Go HighLevel account. So I do see the value in that. But as far as that high techy part, no, you don't need it.
Yeah. One of the things that we really liked about Boomerang Me is that obviously our channel, we have a ton of content about HighLevel and we love using it, but it did seem like a standalone business if you chose to do it that way, that you could just run it with Boomerang Me without having to integrate with HighLevel. And all the tools that Mike showed us on his demo, just where it has a restaurant specific landing page right when you walk in, you can have their app set up. And for those of you who don't know, basically go watch the entire video with Mike, but in a nutshell, it's just a digital loyalty punch card. Like, you get 10 coffees, you get the next one free, or whatever, however structure you want to do with that. But it does it so systematically and so simply that it's just really cool that you can just walk in and show them, hey, I already built this for you. And it's beautifully designed. And I really love the platform that they've created.
Yeah. And your ability to do that so fast. Like, I could, if I was that cold call, walk in the door, cold seller person, you could literally, because it's mobile friendly, which you don't find almost anywhere else anymore. And this kind of a level anyway. So it's mobile friendly. So you could literally type in the address of whomever you're about to prospect and wait for about 45 seconds. It will create everything for you. And now you just open it and you're ready to go. So
wow.
It's like, I had a pitch meeting this morning with a restaurant. So 5 minutes before I was walking out the door, I was just simply putting in their address. Their card was created and I was ready to go. It was just easy, like no stress.
So for those of you who follow our rank and rents and all the other things that we bring to you, and we're always on our show, we're always trying to drive home, hey, you just have to find that one thing, that one service, that one tool that you can offer that's really valuable and you can do it really well with HighLevel, and you can have a successful agency. And so what she's talking about is she's really answering that question that everyone always has, no matter what we bring to you. You always want to know, how much should we charge, right? But you also always want to know, well, how do I sell this thing? Like, how do I create a presentation or a visual? How do I communicate this service to potential clients and customers? And so what she's saying is that just how we show you, go find the logo and put it on the site and give them something to where they can visualize. She's saying that they literally do this for you, and you can do it in a matter of 45 seconds. And you have a beautiful presentation that looks like you spent hours or days working on specifically for that client that you're talking to. So that's so powerful when they have all of that done for you.
They pretty much just hand you over something you can immediately start selling and growing. And we keep saying it's a loyalty club program. And it's interesting that you guys are wording it that way, because when I go to talk with restaurant owners or small businesses, I don't word it that way. I word it as it's a loyalty club solution, because I think that the power that I'm offering isn't just giving you the tool of, here's a loyalty club, because many POS systems have that option. I present this flywheel of marketing flywheel. For those that aren't familiar with that concept, it's a kind of like this concept of this wheel, right? It turns. Getting it to turn is probably the hardest part, right? And then once it starts to turn, it starts to feed into itself and power itself faster and faster. So I present this visual image of this flywheel, but it starts that process for them. It's a whole solution for them. It gets them the new clients coming in, which starts the wheel of turning. We collect the contact information. We get them in to pay money. And then it automatically helps with reviews for the customer, with referrals for the customer, which then powers more energy into that wheel to keep it turning. So I present this visual image where once people are in your system, which is the most costly part, just like getting anybody into your restaurant is, it's going to start to power itself to make your business grow and get people to come back and back. So really, it's more of a solution than a loyalty club card, because it doesn't stop at the card.
That's great.
Really good point.
Just like that was a really good visual for me. I'm getting it. Is that, because I want to know about your course as well, is that kind of when you took on Boomerang, right? Is there a certain training that you go through to get acquainted with how to use that? Or is this more so your Amanda special of, if I took your course, I could learn how to have an agency with the loyalty solution?
So Boomerang Me does a really good job. They do have a knowledge base that is just part of their offering. And it's a great tool and a resource to get set up, get your agency going, and get the really dry technical aspects out of the way, right? What to do, where to click, how to get everything white labeled, all of the fun stuff. But and they do give you the tools of, here's a pitch deck, here's all of that fun stuff. We're agencies. We just have to carry some of that weight and responsibility ourselves too. So we have to figure out, well, how and where am I going to get new customers consistently? Like that's how we grow, right? You don't do business unless you're getting new customers. So how do I going to do that and consistently? Like, what can I actually rely on? And then what does that onboarding process look like? So for me, I've now spent 4 years of success, fail. So I've really perfected now this ability to go and acquire customers consistently, where I can turn the faucet on high or low based on my life. And so, yeah, I teach how to go feature the restaurant, everything, the script, everything that anybody would need. And I honestly created the course for 2 reasons. Number one, I was already started on it because I wanted to, when my son turns 18 here in a bit, I wanted to hire him and I wanted him to have something to go through to be trained. But also I had my mindset. I also have my nieces in my mindset who live in a different city, a major city. So I want them to be able to grow this and have this as something that can help them through college. So I had already started on that process, but people within Boomerang Me, our community group that we have, I kept asking questions in the group because I was onboarding so many people, right? And so people would DM me and ask, how are you doing that? So I'd sit there and I would DM them back and step them through loosely the process. And I was finding I was spending like an hour to 2 hours explaining stuff a week. And finally I was like, would you guys benefit if I just created a course, put it like just I gave you everything I do? And of course, the resounding answer was yes. And so, yeah, I did create a course that literally steps you through. I have no clients and I need clients and I need them fast to you are pitching within the first 2 to 3 weeks, as long as you're doing the work, and probably onboarding then in the first month. So I started selling Boomerang Me using this process mid-January. I now have 12 live. I have 3. I'm just waiting for their first payments. It's not huge growth, but it sure as hell is bringing me a lot closer to my goal. And I know that as long as I'm bringing on 3 to 4 new customers a month, I'm going to hit my metric of what my goal is by the end of this year. And it's all about that consistency. So that's what I'm teaching in my course, how to get those people and how to very smoothly with checklists and everything you need, even my pitch deck, like legit, I'm as transparent as possible. It's literally an agency in a box.
That's
awesome.
great. Yeah.
Where do we find your course?
How about if I share that? Thanks. Can I share the link with you? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. That's cool.
Thank you. That would be great. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll definitely link, we're going to link Mike's, I think we should link Mike's Boomerang interview so you guys can go through that and really take in more of what that is. But this is super helpful. And then of course, Amanda's course, we'll absolutely link that. Our audience would love that.
Well, thank you. As I wasn't really expecting that. So how about if I gave you like a little incentive then for your audience? Like a little coupon card. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Coupons.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll send you one over and we can
Look at this loyalty solution working, Jason.
So awesome. Thank you, Amanda. We'll link the coupon code down below as well. We'll have all the info on that. And again, what Wanetah said with Mike's full training that we did with him. And then I just had a question about pricing too, because I know that you transitioned from that higher tier, more pressure type of sale now to this SaaS model. What has that pricing switch been, and how are you, because you're obviously a 50% closing ratio with your model that you're using is incredible, but what price point are you offering that at?
Absolutely. So before Boomerang Me, I was offering with the full service anywhere between $500 a month to $15, sometimes $2,000. And then now it's changed completely, which obviously means I have to sell more, but it's a lot easier to do. So the way that I structure it, I'm going to preference this with, I love how Boomerang Me allows me as an agency to dictate what I charge. I can go and charge more than they are. I can charge less than they are. Like they have no restrictions on that. So I get to dictate what I want to charge and how what I want to offer with it, how I want to include it, and all the elements. It's very agency specific. So how I handle that for myself is I chose to Q1 start with what would benefit me and get me to my Q1 goal. If I need clients and I need people that I can show examples for. So I did have my rates a bit lower, had them starting at like 125 to 175. Then I hit my Q1 goals and I was being told by customers, this is too cheap. So let that be said consistently. So Q2, I raised my rates and now there are anywhere between $200 a month and $175. So just now I'm starting to get a little hesitation. So I'm going to hit my Q2 goal here at the end of June and then consider if I want to raise it just a smidge more. But now it's between that 200 and 175. So the way that I handle it is it's $200 a month with no contract. And then to incentivize either paying me quarterly or yearly, then I decrease my rates just a little bit and I add a little bit more value to them. And I'm about a third of the time I'm getting people even to commit to a whole year upfront. So talk about longevity with the customer. Like, all right, I've got that customer for at least the next 12 months. Like, I know that, and they're just paying me right up front.
And what's so incredible about the program with Boomerang is you really are creating stickiness on two ends. You're creating stickiness on yourself as the agency, because as your customers go start promoting, hey, we have this new program, sign up here, scan your QR code or whatever, they get 50 people, 100 people over the next month or two. And then what are they going to do to say, we don't offer those free coffees we promised you? They're not likely to end that and you're offering it at a great price point for them.
Yeah. And they can't end that without a little bit of friction within their own customers. Right. I will share one example. I actually gifted a review to Mike yesterday for his birthday as a little success story. So I have this customer I onboarded 2 weeks ago. I think it was the 24th we launched their card, but they went with the paid membership card, which, because that's a new concept, let me explain it real fast. But it's where your customers were literally, it's a paid subscription for restaurants or local businesses. So every month they get paid, in this case, is $36 for a date night every single month. Whether they come in for that date night or not, that restaurant is now getting paid $36 a month. So they announced it on the 24th of last month on their social media page. No paid advertising. They just were talking about it. Now, I did create a little reel about it as well. But within 2 weeks, they have 13 paid members. That's over 500. That's almost $500 a month, which is more than they're paying me. It's only going to grow. And this is revenue that the small business just predictably gets now. They're not going to get rid of me. Like, I've got that person. Like, it's fine. Yeah. So it's about security for myself. Like, I can now have predictable revenue. And because I'm not that full service agency, I'm nervous about that phone call of we can't this month or stuff like that. Like, they're relying on this now, and they've got a foot in the game too. And they would also lose if they left. And it's a huge difference.
We were just talking about this idea to an RV park or an RV rental business yesterday. And so I love that, because you're absolutely right. When I think about this business, because I'm so glad that you're bringing it to life, because when Mike was talking about it, I was like, I love this. This is a really good business for our audience, especially for anybody who's just like, I want to start an agency, but I don't want to be overwhelmed and I want something really reliable. How often do you have to talk to your customers and your clients after you get them set up and rolling?
Well, because I am a little comfortable with Go HighLevel, number one, I let them know I'm a phone call away, and they're getting my personal cell phone number, because local businesses like to work with local businesses. So the concept of not having to call somebody overseas is really big deal for them. So that part is nice. So occasionally they will call me if they want or need something. But for the most part, I reach out to them once a month as just keep in contact, keep the relationship going continuously, just showing them that I still care about you even after I sold you something. So it's a quick 10-minute phone call once a month. I just clear that as part of my monthly responsibilities. But even with Go HighLevel, some of that's a little bit automated. It's just a voicemail that goes out or a text message that gets sent on a drip, especially like I said, I have that vacation coming up that'll just happen automatically for me. So it's not 100% necessary, especially once they're going, they're just running their business and it's just there. They just want to know that you still care.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because when we were talking to Mike about it, the thing that came to mind for me was your clients are always going to be reminded daily that you and your service are working for them. It's not one of those things where you have to like guess, is this thing the thing that's actually moving the needle? Do we need this? Every single time a customer comes and checks out, it's like whatever, if they're getting points or if they're using their coupon, if they're coming back or they're coming in for the first time, you're always going to know. That's why they're here, because of Amanda.
That's a great day. I love that. I haven't even stopped to think about that fact. That's great.
Yeah. And it's something that, as Wanetah said, we when we first started with HighLevel, one of our first offers was social media posting for people because we were just kind of getting our bearings and it was something easily understood. And that did well. But at the end of a couple of months, they were like, I don't really know if this is doing anything. Like maybe I got a customer, maybe I didn't. But with this offer that you're offering, it's clear as day. They're walking in saying, here's my app.
Absolutely. And even further than that, all they have to do, in my case, is log into the Let's Sign Local platform. And the first screen they're on is their ROI. They are being told, you're spending this much. And because you're spending this much, I think, how is it worded? $1 of investment is getting you this. Like Mike's worded it. They recently updated it. So $1 of your investment is returning, giving you a return of X, whatever that number happens to be for that in each customer. So they are, in layman's terms, because that's what my audience needs, able to know, is this generating me a return on my investment or not? And it as fast as possible. And if they have to work to find that or understand that, then it's not good for your agency. So they need it really clear so that when they go looking for that, is this worth it? When times do get tough for that restaurant, the hood over the oven goes out or whatever the case may be. As soon as they log in, we're letting them know, no, you give me $1, I'm giving you 27, right? So, oh crap, I can't cut that. What else can I cut? And it's no longer me.
That's brilliant. That is really brilliant. Like, wake up. It's like an alarm clock. Like you wake up and you're like, I made you $27. Good morning. That's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Cool. And another thing I love about the platform is a lot of restaurants, as you mentioned, I think when we did a call a while back, you said during the pandemic, a lot of restaurants didn't have email lists, they didn't have phone lists, they didn't have anything to reach out and contact their customers to say, okay, well, now we're doing drive-by pickup service or anything like that. And as HighLevel users have experienced in just about any platform, the text messaging has now changed drastically to where we have to get A2P compliant and you have to get all kinds of things verified. Tell us, are you doing any kind of push notifications or anything through the Boomerang Me app to your customers?
Absolutely. That's a huge selling point, you guys, for me. And I definitely, that is where more of my focus is on when I'm talking with them, reminding them of how we build a relationship. We build a relationship by talking with our customers, right? So it's those push notifications, those, I call them gentle touches from their restaurant to their customer base, just not to give an offer, not to discount their food, but what those automatically do is it's just reminding them that their restaurant's right around the corner. And so, yes, I absolutely love the push notifications. The restaurants and the small businesses, especially, again, in my clientele, they don't have much extra to put into advertising. So the fact that those push notifications are free, I love that I don't have to worry about that stupid authorization.
Yeah.
I hate that step. It's my least favorite part. So yeah, it's so nice. And the fact that there's so many that are automatic for them, that as soon as I onboard them, like the geofencing and it's continuous. So, and that's really what makes Boomerang Me stand out from a loyalty club. Like that's part of that whole solution circle that I was talking about. And that's why I put the focus there versus the loyalty club, is because it doesn't stop at loyalty club and a punch card.
Yep.
That punch card is just the entry point because now we're on their phone. Now we get to talk to them automatically and you don't have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
You being the restaurant or the small business, but even here, the agency owner, unless they want to hire me a la carte to go in and schedule something for them, like it's all just done at the time of setup.
Yeah, I want to unpack that really quickly because I think people may not know the term geofencing and push notifications. So just to put a little simpler term on it, basically it's an app that is downloaded into your phone. And instead of getting a text message, if you've ever noticed, like sometimes we rent trucks from, and as I'm driving by U-Haul, I'll get a notification that says your closest U-Haul is zero point 0.6 miles away or something. That's not a text message. It's just because I have the app on my phone, it knows my geolocation, where I am in the world, and that I'm very close to that U-Haul, and I get a little pop-up on my phone, just slides down and slides back up. But imagine if you run a pizza shop and you're in a complex with a few other restaurants. Somebody pulls in and maybe they're going grocery shopping or they're going to a store, but then they're like, I'm hungry. And right then they get a notification on their phone, hey, Jimmy's Pizza is right here. They're like, oh, let's go to Jimmy's Pizza. It's so simple because they're in the vicinity already. They can walk right in and transact business there.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly how I use it. Yep. And I love the grocery store idea. And if I do ice cream shops and we're remotely close to a swimming pool, like all of those little things. And again, that message that shows up isn't a discount. It's just, it's a matter of competition of being remembered. And so the Boomerang Me platform allows that small business to actually compete with Burger King, who sends me push notifications constantly, right? So now it gives them that same level of technology. I am going to correct you a little bit if you don't mind.
Thank you, please.
It's not an app. So the customer,
right.
the end user doesn't have to download an app. It actually just is a little digital card, just like if you bought a movie ticket or a ticket to a show, and it goes right into their Google or their Apple
wallet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
Yeah, and I
Can
heard
y'all
one
clarify
other.
that for me? I'm sorry, Jason. Can you all clarify that?
People might need that. Yep.
Yeah.
So how does this end up on my phone?
So, well, Amanda probably can tell us better, but I think it's like as we get movie tickets and things, and you just add it to your Apple Wallet, where you have the little list of your credit cards and other things. Like we went to that concert the other night. I had that in my Apple Wallet. So it just is a place to store all those digital cards.
So when I, as a customer, right, instead of the punch card, when I sign up for the loyalty solution, that's when I'm hooked. That's when it becomes a part of something on my phone. So anytime I'm near Al's Pizza or whatever, it's like, hey, Al's Pizza. Don't forget about brunch at
That's
Al's
exactly
Pizza
right.
on Sunday. Which
is really cool because that means it's saved to their wallet. So I always put a geolocation right on that business. So as soon as that customer walks in, it's just welcome. And so they don't have to go searching for it. They just touch it and it opens. Poof.
Yeah. I'll tell you one other thing.
It's so smooth.
I love the concept behind it. And one thing I heard the other day that I thought was great for restaurants is around like 4:45 p.m. on a work day, I heard that this one pizza shop was sending out text messages. You could do it with the push notifications where they send it out saying, hungry and don't know what to make for dinner? We'll have your pizza ready right when you get off. So it's like right as people are exiting the work day, they're like, oh yeah, let me just get this pizza because I do not feel like cooking tonight. So it's a great little time to send those push notifications.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This whole time I thought it was just Google listening to everything that I say. And Facebook.
I'm not saying it's not, but
right. At least it's helpful, right?
Yep.
About things I care about. Well, that's awesome. Do you have more questions for Amanda, Jason?
I think we've covered a lot, and I can't wait for people to go and rewatch that interview we had with Mike. And then as you start going on this journey, we highly recommend you checking out. Thank you so much, Amanda, for offering a discount to our audience for your course and just your sales methodology and how you're closing close to 50% of every person that you interact with in a non-salesy way. Somebody who feels like sales is not their forte. That's probably me too. I love doing nice things for people and then them wanting to give me money. That's awesome. So I think that's the method that you've discovered through this process, and we can't wait for people to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you, my favorite part of that approach of just giving and then asking for something small, a large percentage of the time I'm doing a pitch with either sharing coffee, margaritas. I went to a bakery and they literally just baked me a loaf of bread and we sat there and sliced bread together. That's the way that I'm doing a pitch meeting. It just feels, and they're excited to see you. Like it's so much more comfortable. It's really cool. It's really weird. It's cool.
Yeah, this is such a fun business. I think this is going to be so helpful for our audience because after talking to Mike, it was so exciting. And I was just like, I just really want to see this business breathe. I want to see the real life of having a business like this because the model is so great and it's so straightforward and anybody can see how this is valuable. But you've really brought that to life. And I'm so glad it's you that we've been able to interview and talk about this because you've also shown me like, oh yeah, this is also a really fun business to be in. Like the perks are pretty high
They
when you're
really
dealing
are.
with restaurants. So,
Yeah.
and the amount of community that you seem to have built is so important. And so it's got to be so enriching and fulfilling. So
It is. My kids hate it because I'll get stopped at public places by people. But with that, sometimes it's just restaurant owners stopping me. And so it's really fun. I finally have that fun job I wanted. You know what I mean? And so it's very fulfilling right now. I'm very happy and in my element this year.
Yeah, you're not walking into an accounting office and sitting there for hours. You're getting to sit down and have a coffee or a fresh loaf of bread. That's awesome.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to pitch
my favorite's the margarita, but we'll go with that.
I'm going to pitch every Mexican restaurant in our city here for sure.
Oh, and then I'll have to pitch the gyms if that happens, right? Well, Amanda, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. We wish you so much success and we would love to have you back on and give us an update. And we're just really appreciative of your offer about your course. That's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for letting me talk a little about it. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank
you, Amanda.
Bye, guys.